Hi, and welcome to Fuzzy Guard, Esports Stories from the Bar. My name is SamDDing, and I've been in this industry for about 5 years. Now let's bring some other esports professionals to the pub. So, ladies and gentlemen, here we are, episode 1, the Fuzzy Guard. C4. We have been talking about this for a minute, right?
Yes, indeed. Too long. It feels too long, but it actually isn't that long ago, right? It's only, 4 or 5 months you gave me the idea, and I was like, tell me when you're doing it.
It was, I remember because I was really nervous about talking to you about it, and it was versus fighting. When I asked you about it, maybe I mentioned it at Evo and stuff, but I have been sitting on this idea for, maybe a year now, maybe a little bit more. Yeah, like, I mean, it was always my kind of vibe just to sit and chat with people and because I think when I went to events and stuff, you know, all I wanted to do was kind of chat with people. Like, I didn't very much care for what character they play, or, you know, like, even if I was playing them in sets, it was more just so that I could sit and have a chat with them rather than test out their Kunomitsu knowledge or whatever, like, you know. But yeah, so I wanted to bring everyone to a bar, and that's the idea here. So today I went for the stereotypical Irish, and I'm drinking some Guinness Draft. That's going to be good.
You know, you told me the vibe, and I was like, yeah, okay, I can get something. It's pretty low tier. I think every other person you bring on afterwards is going to be above my cider.
Cider.
Mount.
Let's go, dude. I like it though. Damn, and you a big cider drinker? Do you drink cider a lot? You don't drink all that much though, am I right?
I don't drink that much. So my philosophy is, when I have a purpose, I do what's necessary. So if I'm going to get like drunk, like out of my face, then you can give me whatever you want. But if I'm drinking because of the taste, I'm just gonna get cider.
Dude, like, you're such a fighting game player. You're such a fighting game player.
I am a logic box, and all I care about is being optimal. So if I like casually drink cider, when I want to get smashed, it's gonna be cheap and it's gonna be easy because I won't turn down drinks, because the objective is to get pissed. So it doesn't matter how it tastes.
Fair. Yeah.
I'm a cheap date. When I was looking, I'm a super cheap date. You can get me whatever you want. It could taste like Barry acid, but as long as it gets me pissed, I'll drink it. I'm easy.
Ew. Right.
Good start.
Great start. I like it, man. Yeah. I don't know. I picked Guinness just because I went down to the shop and I like tweeted out. I was like, what should I get? People were like, dude, get Jameson, get Hennessy, get all of these. I was like, dude, if I have to record every one of these podcasts with hard liquor, this is gonna like die a death with my liver, like, as soon as, like. So I'm gonna start on some stout, right? That's how I start, you know.
Yeah. Start off until you see the viewership. As the viewership goes up, so does the brew. I respect that.
Until I can quit everything else. I'm not commentating anymore. I'm just sitting in my room drinking vodka, like, you know, straight.
Living the good life.
Yeah, man. So how's life in esports treating you?
I mean, because it's a new year, I've got some ideas. I think, to be fair, between like you and some of there's only like a couple of people in the FGC that I class as mates.
Right.
That's like Theory, Jammers, and them lot. They know who they are, and I'll kind of say like, this is what I'm trying to do. This is what I'm planning. So last year, I kind of just stumbled into it, like into the big opportunities like Evo and stuff.
Sure.
But this year, I kind of want to kind of not perfect, but establish myself as a commentator, then do other stuff, maybe like hosting or doing a podcast, but like loosely kind of based on fighting games, like what you're doing. Basically, you're my idol. That's what I'm saying.
Oh,
I try to find a nice way around it, but I want to be C4DDing. That's the goal for 2023.
Wait a minute, because I just got offered a job opportunity. I might have you strapped up in a jersey fairly soon, man.
I'm ready. I'm okay with being pimped out for a little while. Only for a little while. I'll be pimped out. I don't mind.
Was it you that told me about the idea that why don't Lynx sponsor FGC events? Like,
no brainer. Can you imagine the money they would get? Everyone's a winner as well.
Instead of the Red Bull fridge, put a big Lynx like booth there, you know? Try out the new gamer scent, like, you know?
Think about it. And there's so many, I've thought about this way too much, clearly. But there's ways to like establish a better smelling event without shaming people. Because you can say, oh, you're playing on stage, you have to use the Lynx effect just, you know, for
man, yeah.
branding. But it's like, no, we just spray everyone. Like, just play it safe. Everyone gets sprayed. It's not like you get sprayed because you smell. Just spray everyone. And everyone's a winner.
That's it, man. I feel like it's a really good idea, but like I think we got onto that chat of like gaming chairs, right? And about like the way that like all these like huge big chair companies sponsor a lot like of the events and stuff, and you end up commentating on a chair that's worth about 400 quid, and like I don't know in my brain, but we might have a warped view about this. I've thought about this a bit, right? That if we're sitting on these chairs, we're never going to buy them because I mean, we kind of get stuff sent to us, or you can just kind of ask after the event, hey, what's the story with that chair, whatever, you bring one home and that, like. But then I was like, for people who aren't in our position, because I've only had this conversation with other commentators, and they're like, yeah, it's so silly, man. Like, I mean, do people buy these chairs? I mean, they must, because everywhere you go, there's a chair sponsor, you know?
I think the margins must be pretty in fighting games anyway, because you've got, well, I think of fighting games as kind of like, you know, the poor person's game to a degree, right? Sure. It's pretty niche, right?
Call of Duty, FIFA, like Overwatch.
Exactly. I'm not taking shots at FGC. Like, if you want me to, I can. This actually isn't one of those times. Like, we are, when it comes to vegetables, we are the potatoes. We're literally the potatoes.
All right.
In mass, it gets the job done. It don't taste very nice.
I'm drinking Guinness and I'm Irish here, man. You're hitting my trigger words there now.
Sorry. What can I say instead of potato? I feel bad now.
Yams. You call them yams, right?
We are the yams of the gaming community. You must understand this. And the top echelon, like, in a way, we are the top echelon because we're kind of like the influencers. So like you said, we get stuff for free, right?
Yeah.
Then you've got like the streamer, like / personality players that will probably either get it for free or their sponsor will just give it to them for branding.
Yeah.
The normal player who's barely getting top 8, I don't know if they're buying gaming. I don't think that's their priority. It shouldn't be their priority. I'm not gonna
definitely
lie.
not. Definitely not. I mean, you can become a really, really good player on a crappy laptop with as long as it runs the game at 60 and you've got a little Xbox 360 wired controller or something, like, you can play these games, like, you know. But I mean, you know, you also have to appreciate, like, the majority of the times we get paid probably comes from sponsor money, like, you know. You know, Red Bull and all of these huge brands that kind of pump massive amount of money, Sony and stuff, like, you know. That's probably where that comes from. So is it that double-edged sword that, yeah, we want it, but we don't actually want it, like, you know?
Well, we've had this conversation.
I know. I didn't want to steer into it too early.
You know what? No. To be fair, I hit you with the potatoes, so you use my trigger word, which is worth. Basically, I would like the sponsors to like distribute the money a little bit more evenly. That's all I'll say. If you don't want to go into it, no, I think what we get compared to the players, as a player myself, or an ex-player, and when we were talking about like the chairs and stuff, it's like, bro, like, me buying one of those gaming chairs is like a year's worth of traveling around the UK for tournaments.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually completely agree with that. But when you look at the esports sector as a whole, the last time I looked it up, and this was a couple of years ago, but Blizzard had a thing about Overwatch that every one of their professional players to be counted as a professional player needs to give their they need to give their players, is it 50 grand a season, $50,000 a season, so that's 100 grand a year per player. So if you think a team of Overwatch minimum now has 5 players, it's $500,000 a year just on player salary, and that's at the minimum. Okay, I'm gonna have to get rid of those notification sounds. How the hell do I do that?
I wouldn't know. I'm not Hollywood like you. I don't have people contacting me. unfortunately.
Do I just do it like this?
Were they Discords?
Yeah. I'm doing it like that. Whatever. Teething problems. It's cool. We've got this. But yeah, I mean, like, you know, I don't know what the Overwatch commentators are on, but you can best believe it's more than you or me can imagine. Like, they're salaried and stuff. It's a franchise league. They show up to work 5 days a week and stuff, you know. But I mean, is it more than $100,000 a year? I mean, if it was $80,000 a year, that's the sweetest gig a commentator can get, like, you know.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, are we just looking at it through the sort of community lens of FGC in terms of payment and, you know, how the money is distributed and that sort of stuff? And is it just our niche side of what we do that's that sort of thing? I don't know. Like,
I think when I think of the FGC, and obviously it's going to be different for every individual, but I always see the FGC as kind of like the vagabonds of gaming. Like, it's like the outcast to a degree, right? So I do think of us as poverty, but that's the nature, because we are the guys that are like, we are good at games, but we might be a bit too socially awkward to be part of a team. So we play fighting games because I just play on my own, right? I don't need to be able to like talk to individuals. I just play the game.
Sure.
There's a lot of top players that don't have social skills. Right?
100%.
Yeah. And I feel with the bigger games like League and Overwatch, there's a lot of people. I think the reason they're so popular is because the players have personalities.
I mean, yeah, actually, that almost makes sense.
With fighting games, the personalities are normally the commentators. Like, that's why you get a lot of players that go commentating, because they have a fan base because of their personality, and that's really easy to get across when commentating. And then you get some other players that turn into like streamers, and they'll just upload content, and no one really cares about the win-loss ratio. It's because of their personality. So I feel we are like at maybe the end path of like a fighting game player's career.
Damn.
So,
but like,
yeah, sorry. But yeah,
no, I mean, I see your point, like, and I mean, we've all met the big guys when you start into this world, and you're like, oh my god, I'd love to just sit down and have just shake that guy's hand or whatever, and then it turns out that he can't really talk to people, or he can't look you in the eye or anything like that, and you're like, oh, that was not expected.
Fighting games in the fighting game community is where you hear that phrase, "Never meet your idols." Yeah.
Because they won't want to spend time with you.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah, I remember like just meeting a couple of the guys and stuff, and like it was like, I definitely don't want to name any names and stuff, but I remember I was at a show, and one of the guys who I really, really wanted to meet, like one of these like superstars, and he was at the event, and I was like commentating pools or something, right? And there was all these like whispers, right? All of the like LGBT fighting game dudes that I knew were all like huddled in a big group together, and I was like, what's going on over here? You know, classic ego commentator. I'm like, if there's a group of people, I need to be in the middle and find out exactly what's going on. But like, I walked over and I found out that this superstar was trying to organize a threesome on Grindr, right? So they were legit.
Just making sure my headphones are working properly there. Okay.
Yeah. This was I was so new in the scene as well. Like so new, right? But they were like frantically going through Grindr on their phone, right? Now, I don't know how that story ended. But I did actually run into this superstar the day after, like day 2 of the show. And I was like, hey, what's going on? Jesus, man, what's the crack? And that was all that was like running through my head. You know, just kind of like, how was the threesome? Was everything all right there, bro? Like, you know, I didn't say that. I just shook a hand and nervously walked away. Maybe I'm the problem. Maybe I'm the socially awkward.
Yep, you should have asked about the threesome. I mean, that's what a normal person would have done. Because they wouldn't get it off their mind. Like, did you get arranged? Is there recordings out there? Like, they're the you know, they're the questions that an average person would ask. Yeah, maybe it is you problem.
Maybe I'm just the strange one. But yeah, it is funny. I was thinking about this today about like how commentators are that you have to be such a weird niche group, because we're obviously all mega nerds and we all love this weird niche corner of the esports industry, and then we're also extroverts, which like is an outcast in that group. So we have to hit that like Venn diagram right in that middle bit of like the overlap between mega nerd but also can be a performer and, you know, scream when it needs be and that sort of stuff, you know.
I'm going to give a signal for anyone who's doing like production. This is a signal. This is where you might want to start cutting what I'm about to say. I don't know if it's allowed to be said. So Dude,
the funniest thing now is on the YouTube video if it is cut from that point.
It will be lost to the wind. Yeah. Only Sam will know this. Sam in production, whoever's editing, it's between us three potentially. If you feel it's viable to go out or it's okay to go out, then I'll stand by this. But I think we as commentators have to have a little bit of like autism in us, because we are, like you said, we are hyper focused on a very specific thing, which is communicating concepts, which is very weird for like most people to, first of all, find interesting, and second of all, to want to listen to. But we do it in such a way it's very engaging, right? But what goes in our head, and then we kind of maybe it's just me, but what goes into my head is boring, and I have to find a way to make it interesting. So I turn autism into interesting information, if that makes sense.
I mean, do you know what? Genuinely, that is like a really, really interesting point. Maybe there is like, I've never been diagnosed with anything, but that stream of consciousness makes sense. I always say like put some salt on it. Like, not salt as in the FGC way, but like to if a plate of chips comes out, nobody wants to eat a plate of chips. If you put salt and ketchup on the side or whatever, that's when it becomes oh wow, cool, yeah. So put some salt on it, like as a sort of a, you know, yes, this -14, and then he used a 15 frame move. It's really risky to do, like, you know, but he got away with it, and that's why it's super interesting. What I'm actually saying there is, you know, like, and you just get that and you transfer that information. What just happened there was incredible, and you all need to lose your mind right now about it. I respect that point of view. Like, I mean, I think that way of thinking, that sort of stream, and it goes into our eyes and comes out of our mouth, almost a different product, like, you know.
There's definitely like a processing or like a filter system that good commentators have. I think that's kind of a way you can find a bad commentator, where they literally just say what they see, right? I mean, the meme is that's what commentators do, right? They see something, they say what they see. I think when you do that, that's like the base level of commentating. But when you can see something and go, how can I make this interesting, or how can I put my spin on it as put my personality with it, that's when you get good commentators, because they break themselves apart from having like, what's it like, Sam, is that the Microsoft sound? That's when we do the say what you see, that's Microsoft sound. Like, he's just saying the data that you're receiving, and at that point, what are you bringing to the match as a commentator? It kind of feels a bit pointless to me.
No, I do. I mean, you see, I always took the stance that I don't know a lot about the games, but I'm really, really good at like rallying a group of people into one thing, like, you know. And I used to really, really love going, like, doing sets with those people who are they're not performers at all in any business at all, but they will explain a concept better to me than I could ask for anyone else. And then once I have that information, like in this sort of two-way conversation, then I will project that to the stream or the audience or whatever as this sort of you know, now that's the reason why you should get hype. Were you listening? He said it, and you now know it, like, you know.
Do you know Neil deGrasse Tyson?
Yeah, end of GT, man. Let's go.
So that's kind of what we are. So his teacher was probably hella boring, But when he relays the information he got from his teacher, it's super interesting. You're talking about. I'm the same. Those super like boring people to me are interesting.
Sure,
but I know that it's not interesting to the masses.
But that's exactly it, and like that's what I'm saying. That nerdy part of our brain is the dominant part of our brain, and like I could listen to somebody break down some moves about a game for a little bit. I just don't want to. If I come to be entertained, I would rather have a tasty Steve than a guy who is won Evo 26 times, but talks like this. You know, like that's not where my head is and stuff. And I mean, I suppose that's show business, isn't it? Like, you know, and I suppose people sometimes forget that what we do is part of show business, like, or else we would just have a really popular Twitter page. We have, you know, we're in front of cameras and in front of crowds and that sort of stuff, you know?
Yeah, I mean, we spoke about this as well. I hate that side of it, like the glitz and glamour, the showbiz, having to network. They just call that
the SamDDing side now.
I mean, I've seen the lead that you've turned over for 2023. It's cool. This is a different guy than the one I met at Evo. But you know what? Sometimes you have to do stuff to get in the right places, right? To proceed. So I know that you're doing it more because of where you want to go. It's the drinking thing. It's not about the process. It's about the goal. Your goal is more important than what you have to do to get there.
Sure. Yeah. I think that this is the majority of commentators' dream, is that they can just pay rent, like live life, that they don't have to get up in the morning and put on a suit and tie, that we can just do commentary for the rest of our lives and that sort of stuff. So yes, I mean there is a lot of weird, sleazy underbelly, shaking hands, being in the right spot, knowing the right people and that sort of stuff. But yeah, I mean, I suppose, yeah, I do focus almost entirely on that, just paying my rent, just like living a comfortable life just off money from FGC or commentary as a thing, you know. I don't know. Is that do you focus on that? Because you have a really unique way of looking at like commentary and that sort of stuff. Like, and
yeah,
I want to kind of skate past that particular side. You guys will know exactly what I mean as soon as we start into this. But me and C4 had a lot of conversations about just payment of money in what we do and that. But is that your goal? Is that the long-term thing?
So my circumstances, I've got a mortgage, I've got kids, and I've got a job. Like, I was about to say a real job. That's not right. I've got a IRL job.
Right.
So yeah, I've got basically like a 9 to 5, and then I commentate on the side. But with the success that I've had, it's like, well, money-wise, if I really tried at commentating, I could probably not do that 9 to 5. But it's the stability. For me, it's only stability. And I know I would have to do so much things that I don't like doing, like socializing and making connections. I would rather work the 9 to 5 than force myself to do that on Twitter.
Right.
So, if you're a regular human being and don't mind socializing with people, you should go for it. Talk to a couple of people, get your name out there, be friendly on Twitter. Crazy to me, but yeah, do that and then go for that goal, because I would definitely rather do the commentating thing than the 9 to 5. I just don't like the process that I would have to do to gain that.
Yeah.
And the stability as well. Like it's all well and good having commentary jobs, but there is a point where it's like, well, if maybe such and such doesn't like me, or if I do a bad gig here, money might dry up for a couple of months. I'm just not in a position to do that. If I was like not so dependent on an income, I would probably go a little bit harder in trying to make myself as a commentator. But I think it's a little bit harder in EU as well. But there's not big, or maybe it's because I do mostly anime games, to be fair. It might be the games I talk about. The games I commentate aren't known for having cash behind it. So
Sure.
yeah, it might be a game thing as well.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, like, I think you've achieved some great things, like, just on, especially coming from the point that you don't like doing that, networking or kind of pushing yourself out there and that sort of stuff. Like we met at Evo for the first time, like, and like,
Yep.
Evo is the dream for still thousands of people out there that sit on and talk about a video game, like, you know, like that's the pinnacle, that's the top. Like, you've got that without, you know, greasing some palms here and there and kissing some faces and that, like, you know.
I normally, when I tell people, maybe I don't know, I feel like I've got an ego, but maybe I'm being a bit humble when I say a lot of that was due to luck. Like, me getting to Evo, it might be some sort of like headcanon I've got, but it all stems from me going to Meltdown where the twins were there, Mark and Rich, not talking to them, but they would see me like bringing my setup and playing games. Like, they could see that I was serious about Guilty Gear, for example. Like, that's what I used to bring to Meltdown when they were doing Street Fighter. Week in, week out, I would drive there with my setup and it would be like 4 of us there. And I think the work effort showed to them. So when I started commentating, they were like, oh, that's the guy that grinds. Yeah. And that helped me. So that, as well as knowing people like Jammers, Theory Fighter, Logan noticed me, Damascus noticed me, Tyrant noticed me, all the like prominent UK heads saw me. And then when Dragon Ball came out, they were like, that's the anime guy. Get the anime guy to do it. When I was going to Versus Fighting, I was entering Guilty Gear and bringing my PC and 4 setups so we could have the tournament.
Damn.
Yeah. Like,
Jesus, that's old school stuff, man.
Yep. That was me. So I think a lot of it was like, that guy is serious about this. That helped me get into the position I was. So it was random. No, sorry. It was luck that they noticed me, but there was a lot of effort gone in prior to commentating. That's why I got into the commentating slot.
Sure.
I would say.
I mean, so I would just counter that by saying, as soon as I got the email to say, we'd like to offer you Evo, I immediately went to the twins, because for anybody who doesn't know, we're talking about a Visual Platform, the production company. They're one of the biggest production companies for fighting games across Europe. But it's owned by 2 guys. They used to have the broadcast contract for Bandai Namco and Capcom. So that's like, those are your 3 biggest games: Dragon Ball, Tekken, Street Fighter. Those were the first guys I messaged. I was like, just got the word, thank you so much, everything. And they wrote back, they were like, wait, did you get that? Like,
oh, serious?
They have no say in that whatsoever. Like, none. Like, they weren't consulted, they weren't like approached or anything about that. Like, they got sent over to do some of the Street Fighter stuff. But this is what I was told. I was like, yeah, we had nothing to do with Tekken. We've no say or anything in that regards, like, you know. So I mean, just because I had the exact same idea. I was like, it was a load of just me being in the right place that got me onto ICFC. Was like the kind of the big snowball start of what I've done. And that was all the twins. That was, and everything then TWT or Tekken World Tour online stuff that I got through the twins again, like, and that. So it just made sense to me that, oh, Evo, next step, of course it's coming from them. It had nothing to do with them, like, nothing whatsoever.
Okay.
That was all. Definitely, I don't want to mention any names because somebody's getting blasted on Twitter now. Next Evo gets announced or whatever. Someone's just like, I'll tell you after, like, who actually picks the names. It's 2 guys, and it's like I wait, have you got a bleep button?
I've got a bleep.
You came prepared, dude.
Always.
Yeah, I don't like. I mean, I think that what we do is such a weird gig. Like, and like, that's a question that I used to ask a lot of people. How do you explain what you do to your parents?
I guess I just gave them the low ball. Like, oh, you know, like when you listen to football, I do that for fighting games.
That's exactly how I say it. It's like football, except for, do you know the two guys did you hear? Yeah, I do that for video games. Yeah.
Yeah, I the thing is, I'm not. I don't know if they've ever seen me commentate. I'm trying to think. Like, I've never sent them a Twitter link or a Twitch link.
Yeah.
Like, my missus found one.
No way.
Because I tell her what I do. I never sent it to her. I don't kind of announce to normal people what I do. It's only if they ask me. No one at my work knows what I do.
Really?
No one.
Damn.
Look, tell a lie. I told one person because I needed to get the weekend off, and I was like, you know what? My bargain is I'll slip you a 50, and I'll tell you what I'm actually doing. So one person in an office full of like 100 people knows.
Jesus.
My deep dark secret. Yeah. I'm guessing that's weird, right? I think most people are like,
yeah,
I commentate.
dude. I'm real proud of the shit I do, man. I to go into work and I'd be like, you will never guess who emailed me today. Let's go, dude. You know?
Yeah, I'm a weirdo. I'm an introvert. I really am, man. Like,
it's weird though, because your commentary sets are like, you would never like expect you to be an introvert. Like, if I saw your commentary and didn't know you, I'd go up to you and be like, yo, dude, what you said there was sick. And I know that you would hate that I came up to you and said that. Like, but that's only because I know you as a person.
Yeah. So there is like what you said is 100% right, but there's a criteria. And I can't explain it, but there's certain people that I don't mind doing that with.
Right.
But I could never tell you the checklist of what that is. So when you did it, it was like, oh, he's on a level, he understands. But when people like asking for pictures and stuff, like I'll let people know this. I don't like the picture thing. I think I'm such an ordinary person. I would say I'm below ordinary because I'm an introvert. Like I'm almost subhuman, right?
Damn, dude.
Why would you want a picture of me? I don't get it. Like, I'm just someone who had enough money to buy a road pod and I talk a lot of shit. Like, I don't think I'm that interesting. So to me, it's cringe that you would even want a picture of me. Like, especially if you're a player, like you're way more important to me. But you know that this is only putting me on blast, not other commentators, just me.
No, so, I mean, I see what you're talking about, but I think that's just a bit of self-worth sort of stuff, isn't it? That like, you know, like
yeah.
I would argue that like it was Banana. He's a Tekken player. He told me, and I caught me in an airport, and it was after like a 3-day event. I was knackered. All I wanted to do was go home, and I had my earbuds in at the airport. I had my bag on, and I was just vibing to like some hardcore death metal, like just trying to get through this like thing, like, and then I felt like a tip on my arm, and I just pulled out one of the buds, and thinking that it, like, because once you leave the event, you don't really, like, I've never once been approached in public and asked for a photo, like, but
right. So
I thought that there was something wrong, so I pulled out my earpod, and I didn't recognize that this was one of the top players in Europe right now, and he was like, SamDDing, and I was like, oh, Jesus Christ, man, I'm not now like in the mood to be dealing with hey man, how are you, like, what's going on? But he said, like, we sat and had a chat for an hour about it. He said that he had, like, my commentary on Tekken helped him learn English, like, because
wow,
he was like coming up in the Tekken scene, like obviously watching a load of tournaments and that sort of stuff, and he learned English through like commentators saying, you know, down forward 1, and like, you know, oh, I don't know if he should do that and that sort of stuff. So he was like, you helped me learn English, and I was like, that's the weirdest concept, like, in my brain, like, because obviously Europe is a lot of languages and stuff, but we always commentate in English, like, you know. So it's just, I don't know, man. I think what we do carries worth, like, you know. I'm sure there's people like that. Hold on, let me open this. I don't want to, because I'm so afraid of like recording in this, like, you know.
Based. That's a bit of sub alert when you start doing this live. I'll be sick.
No, dude.
I think if I got that, I would feel the same way. I just never think about my commentary helping, I guess, outside of fighting games. That's what I always feel that my commentary only helps if you're in that fighting game. Like, you're helping like a real life not issue, but you're helping with a real life skill, speaking another language. You've helped someone do that. I've never thought about my commentating doing that.
But
so I guess
neither had I. I had never thought about that. But that's, I mean, maybe that is a part of, do you know, especially if, do you know, there's some kid in Spain watching a load of Dragon Ball or something, and like, you know, we're all taught to speak clearly. Like, you know, we don't slur or anything, like, because if you do, you're probably not getting the next show, like, and that, like, you know, like, I mean, maybe that's a thing that I honestly don't know, and that kind of blew my mind about, like, because it went from, I don't know if I can do this, to, wow, Jesus, I'm a bit of a diva here in this airport now, like, you know.
I'm a big deal. I mean, there's a little thing I've done, I guess, that could be similar to that with Dragon Ball. So on commentary, sometimes I make it a point to call it Dragon Ball Z. So it's like, we're from the EU, it's Z, not Z. But I do it kind of like a mean meme.
Right.
Like I'm, you know, like how Jammers commentates, where he's kind of like a little bit of a bully. I like to embrace a little bit of that. So I will make sure on an American like duo or an American match, I'll say Dragon Ball Z. Like, I'll purposely say Z, and then tell chat. When chat, I'll look at chat and they'll be like, "Why is he saying it weird?" I was like, "Because I'm from the EU." So I guess someone could go, "Oh, I didn't know they say Z in the EU." That would be a learning lesson. I don't know, but other than that, it's normally just memes and bully / informative commentary, I guess. But yeah, I think with the real life stuff,
dude, that bully / informative just put this image in my head of like, yo, you didn't finish your homework, and you like punch someone and then give them the answers to their homework, like, you know?
Fam, I did it. You know, I don't normally regret things. The closest thing I had to regretting is when, you know the difference between a dragon punch and a flash kick, right?
Yeah.
Thank you. That's why we're friends. So on commentating, there's a character that has a charged reversal in Guilty Gear. My character, which makes it worse. There's DPs in the game. There's one character that has a flash kick or a charged reversal, and everyone calls it a DP. Why? So twice I was with Solid Bones, and I brought up, I said, why are you calling it a DP for? It's a flash kick. You know it's a flash kick.
No, wait, on broadcast.
Evo broadcast. I did it with Solid Bones, and I did it with Giuna. No. I was like, what are you doing? Like, you know it's called a flash kick, right? And like, but everyone calls it a DP. I was like, you should know better. Giuna plays that character. He is old school. He knows the difference between a flash kick and a DP. And was going, I think Solid Bones was saying, but they're both reversals. Like, you wouldn't call Guile's flash kick a DP. There's a big difference between a charge and an input. You can't get crossed up. That's why you have to do a cross cut. And I went into that on commentary at Evo.
That is.
And I came away thinking, did I go in too hard? Would I regret that? And I was like, no, I fucking stood for. The reason I got into commentary was to stop misinformation. So I walked away thinking it's going to be cringe.
That's the
misinformation must be stopped. Fucking hate it so much, man. Like, I hate it because when I used to play, the biggest reason I got into commentating, when I used to play Leo, he's a little bit of a scrambly mixed character. And people would be like, oh, he's just doing Leo things. I'm like, no, motherfucker, I'm outplaying you. But you just don't understand. I'm hitting you and you think it's random. It's like, I'm consistently hitting you. It's not random. That's not how maths work. I'm consistently winning with randomness. That doesn't make sense. I'm better than you. So I was like, let me get on comms and I'll explain what is actually going on in the game. So yeah, that's been my life goal, to stop people basically chatting shit on commentary.
I like that. I mean, yeah. There's definitely worse motivations to get into this.
Yeah, if you're not trying to be like a supervillain, like that's like a Thanos origin story to why he started commentating.
Just 50%, man. That's all. Just get rid of half of them, man. Dude,
don't give me that power, please don't.
Speaking of, right? Like getting into commentary, I love the idea of new commentators coming up, and I think because at worst it makes us better. Like if somebody gets a gig that I wanted, then I'm like, right, I can't sit on this high horse all day. Right, now go back, review the VOD, see what's going on, what have I done, now I make myself better. At best it gives me another friend to sit and sharing experiences with and that sort of stuff, right? But I was talking to a dude. I definitely can't mention names here because this is about to get like dark.
Okay. Oh shit.
But,
okay. So I turn the lights off.
But he kept using the words Tekken Illuminati. Right?
Oh, one of those guys. Okay.
But okay, right. I understand the joke that the European Tekken comms is Spag, Bubsy, Ryan Hart, me, Kawis. I think that's it, right? Like, I mean, there are other people that can do it. I'll say it now. There are better commentators than me in Europe right now that are actively searching for jobs, right? But I think the way I'm able to make friends gives me better opportunities. But this guy, like, so when people are talking about the Tekken Illuminati, I understand the joke, right? That every show that's on in Europe, it's probably 2 of those 5 that I mentioned, right? But this guy said, he was talking outside an event and I was having the chats. Yeah, oh, how are you getting on? I knew his name. I have seen him commentate and stuff. He's not bad. Like, he's good, like, but he said, oh, something, well, I can't get that show if I'm not in the Tekken Illuminati. And I was like, haha, probably not. Like, way, how are you getting on? Like, whatever. And he was like, yeah, no, I just think it's a little bit silly that they have this, like, weird recruitment policy for the Tekken Illuminati. I was like, wait, this is a real thing, right? Like, this guy went on and talked about how he had a personality clash with one of the other Illuminati members, right? His words, and that it was all just this big show and this big friend circle or whatever. Like, but he was saying it to me, who he counted as in the Tekken Illuminati, right? And like, I'm not like super tight with any of the other commentators really in Tekken. Like, I mean, I'm mates with them. Like, they're not bad guys at all. But like, it's not like I go out for beers with Spag or anything. Like, and Spag doesn't drink. I don't think he drinks. But like, like I'm not this part of this cult, like, or group or whatever. Like, I just. I did this.
You don't sign up for it.
Right.
I think I know who you're talking about because I think I talked to him on Twitter. I think I know, but obviously I'm not gonna say names. But I know before I got into commentating, I 100% was I want to say aware. I'm not gonna say it's like a tinfoil thing. There is, you know what? A better way of saying it is there's a cool kid table. There's a cool kid table, and
there's a what?
You don't get to choose a cool kid table.
What's that?
You sit at the cool. So you're part of the cool kids.
It's in Corky.
Cool.
Core. Oh, cool kids.
Cool. Sorry, cool.
The
it's
cool
like the Z
kids. ZZ, man. ZZ Top. You like that band?
You're way above my pay grade, mate. I can't talk to those youngins like that. Fucking flash kicks and DPs. But yeah, so the cool kid table, that's kind of where it is. And you don't request to get there. You don't even get summoned. You just appear at it at one point. And I know when I was thinking about commentating, I was like, damn, I had a big falling out with Logan Sama.
Oh, yeah?
A big one. Like, it was bad.
Damn.
Like, there was going to be, he probably would have knocked my block off. Like, 100%. I was going to go there to fight.
What?
I was going to say I was a dickhead. I'm still a bit of a dickhead, but I can draw a line. Like, he had every right to, like, ban me from Red Bull, like, ratio me on Twitter and all that sort of stuff, right? It was over some stupidness about, he said something about weebs, and I was like, you're not talking to me, I'm not a weeb. That's literally how it started. It was so dumb, right? So, but then after that, I went to Red Bull. He's the bigger man, and he was like, oh, I heard you want to go commentate for, was it UFA? It might have been UFA. And it was like, oh, I'll put a good word in for you. He didn't have to do that. Wow. He had no business doing that. Yeah. And at that point, I was like, damn, I got a second chance to sit at the table. Thank you. Because I think when Logan could have went like, this guy's a dickhead. Not like write me off from anything, but everyone else be like, oh, that's the guy that started trouble with Logan. Like, don't hire him. He's a troublemaker. So I definitely got, that meme with the army guy diving over to protect the kid?
Yeah.
Logan did that for me, and he had no reason to. That's why I always defend and rate Logan. He's had these things in the background, like a couple of years ago, and I see a lot of the things that he did, I'll be like, I would have said that. So I'm no better, but he's definitely helped the UK scene a lot.
Yeah,
a lot, and not just me. So I understand about the table thing, because I definitely felt that situation when you're talking about new and upcoming commentators. But Dragon Ball, it's rough. I'm there because I started before the other people. If I started when these new players were, it would have been hard to pick. Very hard for them to pick me over them.
I don't know, man. Like I think commentary is a weird thing that it looks super easy, but you actually have to work on it, and you can immediately tell the people that are like actually working on it and like becoming good commentators and stuff. And I think those are the people that get picked. I can only speak for my game, like, you know, like, and if I see, you know, maybe it's not like a European major or something like Evo or whatever like that, like if it's one of the regional finals or something, like, you know, and I see other commentators on it, if I don't know their name, immediately the first thing I do, I'm like, oh cool, who's that guy, look him up or whatever, and immediately as soon as 10 seconds of a clip plays, I'll know, oh yeah, no, totally 100% I can see where that guy got picked. I think that there's a lot of people that imagine what we do is really easy and then give out, like, because if I saw somebody who was, you know, traveling around and making money off shows and doing some work like that, and I didn't think that they were good enough, I would be hella mad too. Like I would be that guy on Twitter that's saying, like, you know, why did you pick this guy or whatever, like, you know. But like I think that what we do, it's like playing a fighting game. Your first commentary show is like the first time you go to ranked. Like you're about to get smashed. Like you're not rated in that. Like in the kind of global scale of how esports commentary works. Get out of here, like, you know, like, I mean, come back to another 50 shows, and then like when you have that kind of show experience and that, like, you know, that's when you can start taking minutia in and stuff, you know. I don't know.
I would agree 100%. I'd only add like a caveat, which would be, when you're not a commentator and you're looking at commentators, I think it's very hard to distinguish between skill and talent, basically. I think I
don't know the difference. What the hell is skill and talent? Oh, is talent something that you have and skill is something you learn?
Yeah, basically.
Right.
So I think I built I got here for with skill, sorry. Yeah, I got here with skill. So it was a lot of, like you said, like VOD reviewing, seeing what works, seeing what doesn't. And there's some people that are naturally good at talking to people. I know I'm not that. So it was definitely hard work why I'm here. But when you're not a commentator, you just see the end result, if everyone liked the commentating or anyone don't. And there's a lot of people that have talent but don't know the right people, and there's a lot of people that will grind their socks off like every day doing a VOD review on their own, cutting out certain words, going back to situations. I still kind of do this. I used to talk to players in a set. I'll say, can you watch this set back with me? I know you played it, but can you watch it back with me? I'm thinking X, Y, and Z happened. Can you clarify that I'm reading your mind correctly? I'll do stupid stuff like that.
That's really cool.
I thought that would give me the edge, because I think there's only so much you can go, well, I used to play the game. I know the kind of risk reward or the mind games that these two players are going for. Sometimes you just have to go to a top player and go, look, just make me stay in my lane and let me know if I'm talking shit. I think you need that reality check. And it's all well and good going to bigger commentators than you, but you can't get a like purer source of information than a top player.
Yeah.
So, some people are just so talented at talking to people, they don't even need to know all of that. They can just vibe with the chat. And I think you can't tell that sometimes when you're looking into commentating.
Sure. Yeah. I think from the outside in, it just looks like we're sitting having fun with our friend watching a video game, like. But there is the weird niche skill. Do you watch the chat when you're commentating?
I love it.
Dude, you're insane. You're insane.
I know.
What?
I tell everyone, don't look at chat.
That's like rule one of online commentary. Do not have the chat open. And everybody wants to. Everybody, you just want to see, as soon as okay guys, we're live now in 3, 2, 1, everyone, you open up the chat and you're like, yeah, SamDDing, yeah, let's go, let's do whatever. Don't do it. Just don't do it. Because I think it was when I got ICFC. It was like maybe the second week in the pre-season of ICFC that I was like, no, it's fine. Nobody was talking about me in the chat, and I'll use it for like insights. Somebody will say, oh no, that's actually -12. Like, I was just tricking my narcissism into allowing this to happen, right? So I did chat up on the second monitor, and the broadcast went live, and Anakin from America was like, oh, I've got my friends here, I've got like SamDDing, and some message. I just saw it right as broadcast started, turned, and was like, oh, not this prick with a mustache again. Second week, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna have to cut that out now, Like, I was just went live. Prick with a mustache.
I mean, that is, I live for those. I want that. So, you know what it is, right? Okay, so I think I've always done it. Like, when I first started with Dragon Ball, I would open the chat as a stream monster mentality. Like, I'm the only one here who's capable of commentating. It wasn't that I was selected. I was the best of a bad bunch at those times, right? I was still entering tournaments. It was just like, oh yeah, I went 2-2. Never go 0-2, mate. I'm better than that. But I would go 2-2, and I'll be like, oh yeah, I'm here to do top 8, whatever. So the chat would be there, and the like flood I would get is, oh my god, this guy sounds like Tyrant, which is nowhere near as bad as what you got, 100%. You know me now. I love to debate, and if someone says, I literally do this. I'll like talk, blah, blah, blah. That was a sick uppercut. And I'll look at chat and go, say something to me. Say I said something wrong. Talk about my forehead, whatever you want. I'm here for the smoke. Until I have to say something again.
Bruce Buffer thing. That's the thing you told me.
Yeah. Oh my. People hate it, and I love it.
I love it. I hate it too. And I want to tell you every time I see it, I'm like, hey, bro, chill out with the ladies and gentlemen. God, man. Chill out with that, like, but no, I feel like it fuels you.
So I think I've had a really clean record of people like not disliking me, which is weird because I am a fucking hateable person. I would not be friends with myself, 100%. And I always looked, because a lot of like the Dragon Ball commentators would get hate, right? There's a guy called Dunk, and a lot of people would like hate him in like people used to hate him in the YouTube comments. I can't understand why. I think he's a sick commentator, and I'm like, if people don't like him, they must fucking hate me. I could not find anything. So with that Bruce Buffer thing, I've seen a couple of people saying, oh, not this shit again. And it makes me want to do it more. If you never said anything about it, I would have stopped it by now. 100%. The more people dislike, I want smoke. I love it. I don't know why. I love to engage with it. So like, I have kind of like mini games when I'm commentating. And I used to do stuff like, me and Dunk have done it a couple of times. So we'll drop something like Man in the Mirror. And then for like another 2 minutes, we would have to commentate by dropping in Michael Jackson song references. I've done it with that. I've done it with like Marvel. We've done it with like Eminem songs, just rattle off food. So I like those mini games to kind of keep my brain,
I definitely respect that. That sounds like a commentator's like workout plan right there. Like,
yeah, it's so funny, man. I love doing that stuff. And another hobby is like arguing with chat whilst commentating.
You're insane. Like, you're insane.
I'm the worst.
I got sent a couple of odd reviews just to be like, oh, I want to be a commentator, check these out. And I'm like, yeah, let's do it, like, or whatever. And as soon as you see the person, they're like this, and then they go, XLX 420, no it wasn't. And I'm like, all right, cut that out. That window off right there. Like, like that's the first thing you say. Don't read chat. You're insane.
So I would definitely agree with that. I would never address someone in chat. Very, very rarely. I would never say a name. If what they say is so outlandish, I don't need to say their name because everyone else saw it. I've done that before. Like, if someone says, oh, this character needs to be banned, I was like, maybe you should just get better. And then just, like, move on. So But addressing someone in the chat, that's when you like break the veil of commentary.
Right.
Like I think you break the illusion when you start directing your comments at someone in chat. I kind of like the subtle fourth wall breaking, because I think people in chat say the shit they do because they know there's no repercussions. So they can say shit about a commentator thinking they're commentating, they can't say nothing back to me. I like breaking that. just to keep them in check. Like, I know what you're saying. It's not like, oh, an hour later I'm going to say it in a YouTube comment. I'm going to say it to you live, and I'm going to try and embarrass you in front of everyone else, in front of all your friends in chat. Then go about. I've told you this as well. I'm the worst person to commentate. 100% the worst person. I don't look at the chat while the camera's on. I'll wait till the camera's off and stuff like that. So I'm very sneaky about it. So don't. If anyone does want to commentate like me, don't. I'm the worst, man.
Who was it in Paris that you were commentating the set with, and you were like, "I'm gonna make you
Steve
break"? Was it? Wait.
Yeah, I did the whole Nago.
Oh
you
my
ain't funny.
God,
Yeah.
that's what exactly I was thinking about that, dude. That was
Steve.
insane, man. So for anybody who doesn't know,
yeah, you have to explain this.
So we're all sitting around, right? We found that there was a VIP press area. We were not press. Like, we were just a bunch of commentators. But they gave out free champagne at this area. Easy dub right there. We all sat around the table. We all made friends with the bartender. We all sat drinking champagne for like a whole day. It was 2 days. Like, Acoustics was there. Oh man, but crazy stuff. And right, it was the thing of, you were talking about, like, we were just talking about the event or whatever. I can't even remember. And you started, maybe it started the night before. I can't even remember, but you tried to get me to say stuff that I shouldn't say on stream. And it was then you dunk Acoustics. Like, we're all like, no, you have to kind of like push out, be the bad boy of commentary. I was like, guys, stop. That's exactly.
You are so wholesome. He would not say it. He would not say Chinga Changa. He would not say it.
It's because I still remember we had a meeting. It was a Bandai Namco affiliated stream.
Oh,
so we had a meeting with the esports manager for Bandai Namco, and he sat us down and he was like, you know what you guys are doing. You've done all this before, whatever. Just so this, and this. Make sure run a show as adhere to the classic commentary stuff. So I sat down, and ladies and gentlemen, this is true as, right? I'm sitting there, I'm watching the game on my monitor in front of me, and all I see is this head pop up. C4's happy little head pops up from behind my monitor. I, mid-broadcast, took my earphones off thinking that there was something wrong or something. You know, I was like, is everything okay? And he goes, say Chinga Changa on stream. Like, I was like, no!
I actually thought you was really like gonna spin my jaw after that. Like, you did not look happy. Like, your face was like normal and kind of like maybe slightly delightful. Like, C4's gonna say like, good luck, have fun, something like that. And then I broke your heart, and he was just like, and then had to go straight into commentating mode.
You see, the thing is you can't explain that to a Bandai Namco broadcast. Like, cause they're not gonna get that we had this weird bond over saying dodgy stuff on the internet. Like,
no, you can't. I mean, you're a professional. That was your test. This is why I rate you as a commentator now, because you did not crack. You did not say Chinga Changa, and you didn't let it phase you. You went straight into commentating mode. So,
God,
although I'm an arsehole, I battle hard in you. If that doesn't phase you, I don't know what will. Someone's gonna have to streak past you or something, like.
Oh God, Jesus, man! Like that, I remember thinking, I was like, he definitely doesn't know that this is a Bandai stream. Like, one, but the whole
the reason
thing
was because it was a Bandai stream.
But it was Acoustics. God bless that man, and I love that gentleman. He is the biggest ball of fun I've ever been a part of. But he was saying stuff that I wouldn't even care, man. If I'm on a Bandai stream, and I've done Bandai streams where I say this, and I'm like, you did not say that. How have you not gotten reprimanded? He was like, I do, but, you know, we're commentators. I was like, that's not how this universe works, like, you know.
You have it so different to us. It's so like, obviously, when I say you and us, it's Tekken and Dragon Ball. Like, me and Kusik say bannable things on Twitch. Fully bannable means. Like, he said, I think he's probably said a little bit more crazy stuff just because of his, like, his nature. I kind of do it to see how far I can go without getting fired. Kusik's like, try fire me. I try do it. Like, I've said, like, 2 girls, 1 cup when there's a happy birthday with 2 girls. Because, you know, you get, like...
Yeah.
I got invited again. I was like, oh, I guess I'm allowed to say that. I've said low tier Gogeta, and I do the pose like LTG. They say they invite me back. Oh. So I'm like, I guess there are rules, but they're kind of meant to be broken a little bit.
So I actually know this because I've heard from industry people about Dragon Ball commentary.
Oh, really?
And you've got to
probably not a good rep.
We can circle back to you saying outlandish stuff, but is it true that you're not allowed to wear about Dragon Ball merch on a Dragon Ball broadcast?
So the first UFA, I wasn't allowed to wear my Pikachu top on a Dragon Ball stream, which I thought clashing brands, I guess, because Pikachu's in Smash, maybe.
Okay, yeah.
I was like, all right, whatever. But with Dragon Ball, I think it's to do with I'm not a weeb, so I can't remember. I nearly said Toshiba. It's definitely not Toshiba. Toye, I think.
Fujitsu Siemens. Yeah.
It's something to do with like the higher ups in the company that owns Dragon Ball. If it's not official, you're not allowed to have it, and it's very hard to figure out if the item of clothing you got that's official.
Right.
So they're just like no Dragon Ball.
Yeah,
just none. Yeah.
Jesus.
So and that's the biggest rule.
And I've heard another rule that you guys it's your advise against making references to the anime.
Oh no, we can do that.
Oh really?
Yeah, I think we are. I've never. If you're not meant to, I should not have had so many commentator jobs. There's a lot of downtime in Dragon Ball, and I've done it. You're not allowed to say a character's broken. They've told me that before.
I mean, look, I understand that. Like, you know.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of commentators passed over for jobs because the first thing to do as soon as the camera's on is start talking bad about Bandai Namco, and you're like, look, well, they're not about to employ you. But
Yep.
Yeah, I understand that, but no, I heard that like there was some weird licensing thing. Now, look, this could be totally out of the, you know, chat crap books, like, you know, but like the anime is owned by a different publishing company to the game, and that's why the game can do game exclusive characters. But
it's super weird because it's like Arxis do the balancing, I think, and Bandai are the publishers, but they have to get the go ahead from the creators or the license holders of Dragon Ball. So people were like at Bandai for patches, and it's like, no, Arxis, you need to act Arxis. And then there'll be rules from Bandai, but they're not Bandai rules. They're like filtering it down from above, saying there might be a rule saying like, don't say Goku's a bad father. Maybe that is a rule. I've never said it, luckily enough. Okay. Which is referencing like the series, right? So they might say, don't talk bad about our characters in reference to the series. That might be a rule. I like, again, I'm not a weeb, so I know very little about the law. I know about Vegeta, and that's pretty much it. And I gas that character up. So I'm good. I'm in their good books. I make one of their characters that everyone like trolls look good. So they probably allow me to say like super sus stuff.
That's the thing. All right. What's the worst thing you've ever said in a broadcast?
The worst thing I've ever said in a broadcast.
I think like when you look back on it, you're like, I should never have gotten a show after that. Do you have anything like that?
I think it was pretty bad. It was, you know, sometimes when you do a joke and it's too soon. It was a too soon joke. It was a too soon joke, right? So,
hold on.
I didn't.
It's good to go out.
Yeah, no, it's fine. It's fine. It's not that bad. It's not that bad. So, you know, I have a Fresh Prince of Bel-Air top.
Oh.
And I wore that top the day after the Chris Rock Will Smith one.
That was intentional as well. That was 100% intentional.
Premeditated, 100% premeditated. And I was just like, yeah, if someone gets smacked, I want to say they got rocked. And I said it, and I was like, oh, it's only been a day, man. Maybe I should have like let the dust settle. But yeah, it was people said, oh, I like the top. I was like, I was just trying to be sinister as fuck. Like, I don't, you guys don't know what I'm about. I'm about being a meanie. But I think in terms of what I have heard, that's not that bad. Like, I've never sworn on comms, never. On the live comms, never done that.
Ever?
And I've made jammers do it. Nope, never. I've got, for some reason, the only way my footer works is for swear words.
That's so good though. I mean, like, you know, you're broadcastable.
I am brandable for sure. I'm very bad at like reading scripts, so like doing call to actions and stuff. I'm really bad at that. But you'll never catch me saying the F word or anything else on stream. Yep. No N words, no R words, none of those bad words.
What's the R word? What? Oh, wait, never mind. I just clicked in my head.
Yeah, it's like, a very common streamer word. All streamers say it when they're not commentating. When they're streaming their own stuff, everyone says the R word. Oh,
yeah. God, it's so funny, man. Like, and I didn't realize that I came in as the little Christian white boy in this circle that you guys have, like, as like this good guy, because never in my brain would I consider myself as the PC guy. That when you said that to me, I was like, wait, really? And then, you know, hearing the stuff you get away with on broadcast, I was like, no, to be fair. Yeah.
You're wholesome, man. You are fucking wholesome, mate. You actually don't understand how wholesome you are. You are good vibes all the time. Like, that is
that's
your
our
branding.
Job. We can't do bad vibes, man. We gotta bring those good vibes, man.
Dude, I don't know what I'm trying to figure out where I stand, because I don't know what my position is. Like, on comms, I will never do reference to like the Maturino stuff. Because I think I won't do it. Like, there's been moments where I'm like, oh, that would be pretty funny. Like, but I don't think I don't know what's different between that and referencing Low T God. There's something in my brain that was like, don't talk about that Maturino scandal. Like,
oh wait, are you talking about the scandal or like the prize pools?
It's one and the same, isn't it? Like the thing that's happening currently
now.
No,
as in like would you say like exclamation mark Maturino in the chat if you
don't worry, the players will get the money. I wouldn't do that.
Oh, right. So you wouldn't make jokes about it. I thought you wouldn't like plug it.
Oh, no, I wouldn't make jokes about it.
Right, okay. Yeah.
What a weird line to draw.
I mean, that felt real personal when that came out. And this is definitely dating the podcast now, but like when that whole stuff came out, but I was like, it just feels like two guys had a real bad fall. Now, obviously, like the stealing of prize pools is terrible. Like, and I'm not condoning that or whatever, but the way Twitter jumped on that, man, I was just like, that feels real personal rather than like a business arguing with one of their employees. Like, you know,
I think I don't like real life jokes or bad jokes, because there's also commentators that said this in Dragon Ball. There's a character called Krillin and there's a character called 18. In the series, they're husband and wife, and people say if they see Krillin beating up 18 or vice versa, they'll be domestic violence. I'll never say that.
Right.
I don't know if it's because it's just so low hanging, or it's not funny, or it's too real. Because another example. I think I told you this one. I try not to say dead. I try not to say dead character, because I don't know if someone in chat's had someone pass away, so I say brown bread instead.
Ah, okay, all right. That's a nice way of getting around it. That's a weird, man. Your filter is weird as hell. Like,
thank you. It is weird, right? It doesn't make sense.
I was like you will walk up to me mid broadcast and say chinga changa, but you won't say dead on broadcast. That's a
One day, hopefully, someone can explain to me why my brain is wired like this. But yeah, I'm very odd in terms of my filter, which I think your filter makes way more sense. Like I said, you're just good vibes.
I'm like, no, it just has to be as if there is me as a teenager watching it with my mom. If I'm sitting there with my mom, that's the whole thing. Like, because obviously 16-year-olds understand subtle references within, you know, the whatever, like the sort of Twitter sphere or whatever. But
yeah,
I can't get away with saying blatant, you know, stuff. That's the way I look at it. So when I go in, it's like, all right, I'll say a joke for just the little, you know, me as a 16-year-old, you know, like saying like, hey, you better watch that, like, you know. Although, speaking of weird references and stuff, right? I said, there's a character in Tekken, and one of her costumes has blue gloves up to her.
I remember this.
And I hate that costume. I think it looks like it's just not fun to look at, you know. And I said, wow, she looks like she's wearing marigolds. She needs to go wash the dishes. Right?
Can't say that now, mate. Not in this day and age.
Right. But the joke is about the gloves, dude. She got them gloves on. And for anybody that doesn't understand, and it was just unfortunate that my co-commentator also was a young guy and didn't understand marigolds when I said it. Like, you know, like I meant like the rubber glove brand. It looked like she was wearing. He just bypassed the first half of that sentence and went, wait, did you just say she should wash some dishes? Mid-broadcast, I was like, yeah, because the marigolds made it work. Like, terrible.
I don't want to call someone out, but I hate when people put you on the spot like that. I say that, but I try to get you to say ching changers. So there's a difference. There's a difference when you're. So I think I've told you about this. Like, if production have the score wrong, I hate it when people, and I'm not on production that often, right? But when a commentator goes like, "Oh, production got the score wrong," just say the score, and then production can correct it. I don't like calling people out when they're trying to do their job.
Fair.
I think it's more like a pet peeve because people do it all the time. But yeah, if someone did that to me, I'll be like, not only did you get my joke, you tried to make it worse, and you're stopping commentating to pull me up on it. I would have lost my shit. I would have been so mad. But you're a professional, and you didn't crack. And he was like, no, I'm not who you think I am. You're just, too young to understand the reference.
Like, I was scared right at the start of my commentary. I definitely told you this story about. So there's two characters in Tekken. There's Kuma and Panda. Two bears. They play almost the same. There's a couple of move differences and stuff, but I was commentating this online tournament. We used to do 4 to 6 hour blocks, no breaks, no anything. You were literally just there, like doing the whole thing. The classic, I've never commentated before, and now, you want to be a commentator? Cool, jump in here. Like, you're just in a Discord call for 6 hours, like, and this guy had come all the way to the tournament to grand finals, and in a bracket reset he switched from Panda to Kuma, right, and I was trying to make the joke of it's a different character and how their playstyles are different or whatever. That was the comedy through line that I was trying to push to my co-commentator. What I actually said was everybody knows brown is more aggressive than black and white. Yep. Now,
that's worse than anything I've said, by the way.
In that context, in the nature of bears, everybody knows that a brown or grizzly bear is more aggressive than a panda bear. But that clip got like clipped out completely out of context and it started circulating, and I was not like a name or anything. It wasn't like I had a following behind me or whatever, but that shit started like going big, right? And I was like, oh no, this isn't good. I genuinely, like, rang some people and was like, should I be worried? Like, just so you know, this isn't what I said. Like, you know, or it is what I said, but it's the end. It's the punchline to a joke that was set up, you know, 5 minutes before or whatever. And then just so happened that there was a real racist that came out like 4 days after.
Come on,
like
just jumped in front of the bullets for you.
Genuine, he put out like tweeted an N-word, and everyone was like,
right.
Everyone moved off my weird implication, like, and was just like, no, wait. The Twitter racist police, like, were like, oh, we got a real one, ladies and gentlemen, we got a real one.
Yeah, we don't have to make this one out to be. We've got self-proclaimed. I mean,
no, just as a disclaimer, that's kind of
scary, man.
As a disclaimer, racism sucks, and anybody who is a racist, fuck you, dude. Like, you absolutely fucking suck. Like, but like that shit, when I was like, and it was so weird because at the time when I said it, somebody went like, ooh, and I was like, come on.
What, on comms?
Come on.
No, not on comms. In the chat, right? It was
in the chat or something like, oh, okay. Can you believe you said that or something? Like, I can't even remember what it was. Like, this was years ago. And I was like, you're an idiot. Like, clearly, everybody knows. It wasn't like I said to white. I said black and white. I'm talking about the colour of the bears.
Sam, you broke the #1 rule. Don't look at chat. Should have said it with your chest.
This is where I learned. This is, I mean, I think we all have this origin hyperbolic chamber story here of like doing everything wrong and then checking them off the list of stuff you get right, you know?
Yep.
But yeah, it really upset me because I was like, surely everybody I know knows that I'm not a racist, like, you know, but I mean, the Twitter sphere is not everybody I know. That's beyond everybody I know.
It is kind of, I think it makes me more annoyed knowing how, because of the conversations I've seen you try to escape from but get dragged into. I know that.
I don't know why. I'm the token boy in so many conversations. And people, what was it? I can't even remember what the thing was, but somebody, it was me and you who were together, and somebody went, no, but Sam, you know what I'm talking about. And I was like,
Was that Evo in the dressing room?
No, I think that was France in the taxi. Do you remember that? You remember that story?
That taxi. That taxi. That was
all right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm about to say something, but if you get into a taxi and somebody says, okay, everybody turn off their phones, it's not gonna end well for anybody in that cab, dude. In the middle of, I'm not gonna mention names, but that dude's tirade, he looked at me and went, you know what I'm talking about though, right? I was like, literally only other white guy in the cab. Come on, dude, man. Like, what? Like, please stop it. Like,
bro, I've never seen someone panic so much. Like, I was there.
Yeah.
And I said, no, I say Acoustics. I say Acoustics was there. And if you know who Acoustics is, he's a big guy. You don't want to say the wrong thing to him. So yeah, when that was said, they looked at Sam for backup. I was like, Sam was no part of this. He's sitting there going la 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 la. Yeah.
Jesus Christ, man. The FCC shouldn't drink. For anybody who's seeing this podcast and being like, you know, oh wow, it looks fun. Nope, it's not. It is absolutely please drink responsibly. Like, Jesus Christ, man. That was. But why is it always you that I'm with when this shit happens, man?
I don't think I instigate that sort of conversation. I don't think so. I certainly
don't.
Yeah, no, you absolutely don't. But every time me and you, maybe it's the combination of us two that make people think. I don't know why. I don't get it. I feel like I feel that they think that we should have tension, but we don't. And it's like, why do you two not hate each other? Make it make sense. But we always get caught. I don't shy away from it, where you kind of do a little bit.
Of course I do.
Yeah, like, I lean into it though. I'm like, what do you think about, you know, the difference between me and Sam? Tell me about it, a little bit more detail. Because I like to understand, you know, when we were talking about like past the game, I like those conversations with people. And if you can get straight into that,
I love that.
There's no holds bars.
Like,
yeah,
that's the idea behind this whole podcast. Like, let's just like take the game away and tell me who you are and that sort of stuff. But the problem is
what are you left with, Sam?
If your entire life is in the game and we don't talk about the game, like, you know, like, is it just the racist stuff that comes out then? You know? Because in my experience, I've experienced a few times where it has just been racist stuff after I leave the game out of it, where we're not talking about frame data or this character is strong or that character needs to get nerfed or whatever.
Don't forget Bridget. Don't forget Bridget.
Dude, stop. Oh my god. Imagine episode 1 we get absolutely shut down. Just name all of the names that were in that room. But
so, bro, if we did that, Bridget's a fun character. I've played them. They're super cool. But yeah.
Oh, we're going into this. All right, okay. Yeah. But...
No. That was me closing the case. Like, people do not. Yeah, because if people found out who were in that. Yeah. Anyway, just what Sam is saying is sometimes when you take away the fighting game aspect from a person's personality, you're left with gender and race. And it doesn't leave much wiggle room for Sam to talk about.
Yep, cis white male representing here, bro. Like, I don't have a leg to stand on in half of these arguments, man. And I accept that, man. I accept that, you know. Like, you know, I like, let them. Oh my god, though. It was the thing of a Pakistani guy saying the M word, and then looked at me as the only other non-black in the room, and went, "It's just a word," and I was like, "Whoa, dude." Don't look at me.
It's got to be the moustache.
Is it like? Do I get that Disney villain vibe or something like that? I'm tying ladies up and putting them on train tracks and stuff. Like, I don't know, man. Like, it's hilarious to think about, but like, commentary as a whole is like a popularity contest, like at its root.
Yeah,
like, you know. So, like, especially at events. You have to be so careful with everything you say. Like, then I just tend to get roped into these conversations. Like, and it's always C4. It's always with you, man. I'm gonna have to stop hanging out with you, man.
I think do I do a good job of defending you? I think I do.
No, what you do
after
is
a while,
you grant me solace that you I think you understand how awkward it is from my point of view. So when I just try immediately break whatever is happening over there and talk directly to you, I'm like, "Hey, bro, what's going on? Anyway, man, I need some relief." You're like, "Fair, let's sit and talk about whatever, dude." Oh my god, man, we could get 3 people fired with just stories of me and you talking.
And the worst thing is, I think we've only met each other 3 times.
Wow. That's an crazy, average. Right? That's an average of 1 fireable offense per meetup. Wow.
It's an aura that we give out. Like, it just pulls out the most polarizing, like, positions in people. No, like, legit, it's weird because I don't think I've ever had that happen. Like, I hang around with Theory and Jammers, right? And I've never gone to a place and those sort of conversations pop up. I don't get it. I'm as baffled as you are. That's the only difference, is that you have a mustache. Like I said, I like talking about. I like to understand why people do or think or believe what they do, and to a degree, I think you can get that from fighting games. You can make like some like massive reaches in terms of like, oh, this character likes Rushdown, so they're probably just happy-go-lucky sort of things. You can do really like loose things like that. But I think it's really interesting to go, oh, this person thinks like this. It makes sense to their game plan. And I think within normal player versus player interactions, it could be really weird trying to get that kind of conversation out of someone you don't know. But with commentators, it seems to happen pretty often, I feel, because they don't have the relatability of, they can say like, oh, do you want to sit down and play? But I think because they know we're not players, they kind of open up a little bit more. I find it super cringe. You love it.
I don't. I mean,
I like to be in the fly on the wall with your conversations with people.
Right,
I like that.
Right, okay. Yeah. Because I love talking to people and I love hearing stories and that sort of stuff. But I don't know, maybe that, like, puts a flag up as, like, I'm an ally for weird stuff that you like when you're at home. Like, you know, no. Like, for anybody at home, like, let's talk. Let's have a normal human conversation as if we met on the street. Yeah, I do not agree with your political views. Like, whoever you are, I don't agree with your political views. If you come up to me and we've only met once, I will disagree with your political views. I don't care. I don't care if I wholeheartedly agree with them. I disagree with you. Like, I don't like it. I don't like it. Like,
he doesn't like it. He doesn't like it. I know you don't like it. I know you don't. Because when we've talked, we're kind of on the same level, but I can say what I can kind of. It's not that I can say what you want to say. It's like I can understand how you feel and not see it coming from a bad place. And I think that's what people want to talk about, if that makes sense. So I think with the taxi ride, for example, we know that it's not like that person wasn't being racist or anything like that. It wasn't a bad. I don't think it was bad intent. They were just overly curious to the point where they could get in trouble. Would you agree?
Yes, absolutely. Just for like subtle context, we both shared a taxi with some people, and one of the guys, not black, dropped the N-word in the taxi and then looked to me for backup on this sort of shit. Like, that's the root of that story.
Yeah.
And god damn it, man, he was like hinting at it for like 20-30 minutes before it, and like I kept giving him the don't do it, bro, don't do it, bro, dude,
the pep talk,
do it, like, you know, just chill, man, just if everyone stops talking and you go to bed, we're good, like, you know. But yeah, out of nowhere then dropped it and stuff. But no, like
it was hell. The worst thing is the person who felt the worst was you in that taxi, which was crazy. You definitely just curled up into a ball.
Jesus Christ, man! Like, you know, like, don't say it, right, and then look for backup. Like, say it, establish yourself as a bit of a dick, and then, like, fucking just ride that until you're dead. Like, don't bring me into your shit that you have conjured here, like, you know. And, like, I'm sitting there with you know, some ex-dangerous people, like, you know, like, people that if I ever upset, I would probably never go to their home countries, like, you know, like, just out of fear. Like, don't bring me into when they're mad now. Like, he was like, you know what I mean though, Sam, right? Fuck no, I don't.
like I was saying before, I like these. I'm kind of, if I didn't commentate, I'd probably be like a debate streamer, like a Logic Bro streamer. I love that sort of stuff. Like, I love, like, figuring or trying to understand different points of view. I think that's why I like fighting games. Like, I like the mind game. Like, I understand the execution is very impressive, like, to talk about as well, and to, like, when I'm watching a game, I'm like, damn, that combo is mad hard. That's super impressive that he did it in grand finals, last hit, blah blah blah. But I like the like mental warfare. I like when someone gets baited, or when someone makes a hard read that pays off, and it's like, damn, they got all this information from like 20 seconds in the last game. And the baiting is that. It's basically that. It's kind of like, let me find the right question to ask you to figure out why you believe X, Y, and Z. It's weird. It's very weird. But I will, with my work, I will sit there and listen to flat Earth debates. I mean, I don't believe the Earth is flat, but I want to know why you think the Earth is flat. That's interesting to me.
I do enjoy that, like, and I do like watching those sort of proofs, but I don't know. I suppose just understanding the other side's argument is always better, so you're not just this one-dimensional.
You would think so. I don't think a lot of people feel like that. Though.
No, definitely a lot of people don't feel like that. I think I'm gonna run to the bathroom real quick. Are you okay to just chill here for a minute or something?
Well, I was gonna go get a drink at the same time.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, easy.
Yeah.
Do you want to take a quick break?
Yeah. Production. There you go. Perfect timing, mate.
All right, we're back. I'm gonna pour another can. Yeah, I like the idea of taking a break. I was just talking to my girlfriend downstairs. She's so funny, man. Like, there was I showed her like the camera, and I was like, do you think this background is good? Like, my eyesight isn't great, so I was like, is there anything that can, trace us back to here, or anything dodgy in the background of the camera, like, and I looked at it and I was like, no, it's fine, it seems fine. She was like, absolutely not. She spent like 10 minutes just like doing a flurry around the background and just getting rid of all the stuff, and that, like, they can't know that we have a mirror in the bedroom and stuff, like,
Reddit is a dangerous place. I'll say that, man. If they found this isn't going to be in there, right?
Maybe.
I was about to say Reddit found Osama bin Laden, and that was in a cave.
Reddit,
so they don't need much information.
Really?
I mean, that's what Reddit say.
Oh.
Or 4chan. They'll take all the credit. I don't want to argue or disagree with 4chan or Reddit, because I'm pretty sure they're pretty strong. If they want to find you, they'll find you.
They'll
so
find your house, man.
Yep. There's sus out there.
Yeah. What was I was thinking, we should probably talk about the idea of payment in esports. And I know that me and you have had debates and discussions and arguments about this before. I think now is a good time to to talk about it. So, from my point of view, I think that commentators should, first of all, always be paid. I think that the job that we do is harder than people imagine, and we are a small sect in humanity that can do this job. So I feel like our skills are very, very valuable, and especially for people who decide to pay out. That is, and I know that you have a couple of qualms about that, no?
So from when we spoke, I have thought about it. Like, to be fair, normally people, when I guess it's like conflict aversion. So when you come up with something like a hard stance on an issue, sometimes when people are like, I disagree, and they're going about their day, right? That didn't happen with our circumstance. It was kind of a 10v1. I'm okay with it. I didn't moan. I had to do a lot of listening because I had to wait for everyone to say their piece. But I honestly, legit, am thankful for that moment, because I don't really get a lot of pushback, because I'm such a logic bro. I can make people believe dumb stuff just by saying, well, actually. So it was cool to have that experience, right? And I think I had one question, and it was, when you, or anyone, but obviously I'll ask it to you, Sam, because you're here. Before commentating or before fighting games, did you think you would be good at public speaking? I guess that's what commentating is. It's weird, public speaking, because you never see the audience.
Sure.
But you see the numbers, right? So did you think you'd ever be good at public speaking?
Okay, so this is actually a weird background thing, but I've talked to my dad about this a lot, that I was bred exclusively to do this job. Like okay. I think that, so when I was a kid, my dad showed me how to play Tekken 3. He didn't know. He wasn't a competitive player, but he showed me how to read a command list and that sort of stuff. So like, one of my earliest memories of Tekken is my dad showing me Hunting Hawk from Harang. And I only picked Harang because I was doing Taekwondo at the time.
Oh, nice.
So that's genuinely one of my earliest memories. And then they put me into stage school. I joined a musical society, so I learned how to control my voice. In the sort of performance field, and obviously video games are a hobby for a lot of people and stuff. So if I can get something in the performance field associated with video games, it kind of ticks a lot of boxes for me.
So I guess maybe this is why we come to different conclusions, because I'm the opposite. I mean, from what we spoke about earlier, I don't like people.
Sure.
I don't like talking to them.
Sure.
I'm also like pretty dyslexic, but I have dyslexia. Like, if you ever talk to me more than like a couple of sentences on like WhatsApp, all the people that have talked to me on WhatsApp, they can tell. Like, from them, I'm very phonetical. So right. I know that I'm spelling it wrong, but I'll spell it wrong. So no, I'll always spell N-O when I'm talking about knowledge. I know the mistake, but I'm super phonetical. And it's kind of, I don't want to say play because that's a strong word, but it's always been a thing in the back of my mind. Like, I read pretty slow. I fumble a lot with my words. And
really?
Yeah, well, it's one of those things like when you hear yourself, right? When the last VOD review I did on my commentary, I was like, how many times do I say and like in my commentating? Yeah. Way too many. I've cut out the but I feel with like, it's kind of like,
whoa,
that, right? It's kind of my culture, I guess. So when I think about other commentators from different regions, they always bring their kind of area or their mannerisms to their commentary. Sure. And I think like is the Essex side of me coming out. And I'm like, you know what? That's my thing. Same with Cockney rhyme slang with the brown breads. Like, that's what I do. I bring like a UK feel. So the are really annoying. I need to get rid of those. But I noticed that a lot more in myself. Obviously, like, you're always your like biggest critic, right?
Sure.
So I'm not sure if it's me being jaded, but I feel this is the worst thing for me to pursue. So when you're talking about skill, I'm like, I have none. I don't think I'm that good. I'm funny every now and again. I have a little bit of word plays. I'm edgy, as I'm the fucking edgiest anime villain, obviously, commentating. To everyone, I'm a villain. But other than the nerdy part, which I try to hold back on when I commentate in, like the whole frame data stuff that we find interesting, but relaying it is not interesting in that format. I think I'm just bad. I'm a better listener and a debater. I think I'm not cut out for like... The one thing I do think I'm good at is the viewers don't bother me. So I know some commentators will be like, oh, there's like 1,000 people. To me, 1,000 or 1 doesn't matter because I'm only commentating to my mates. Right. I commentate like I'm in a house session.
I completely agree with that. Yeah.
Other than that, I feel like I should not be here. So it could be that's the difference why I think you're not that valuable, but you're like, we are fucking valuable, man. Do you know how much like most people can't do this? Where I'm like, I am that most people, and I'm here as well, Sam. Like, but make it make sense.
Like, you say you can't do it, and yet, like, I mean, I brought this point up that you live in London and I live in Dublin. We've never met in London or Dublin. We've only met when somebody is paying for our flights to go to a different place. Like, you know, the first time we met was Vegas. Like,
yeah, it's a bit weird.
You know, it like, I keep telling people that the stuff I do is entirely surreal, and when you start to look into it, it like falls apart. That like people pay money for somebody to talk about video games that are actually happening. It doesn't make sense. It's an odd concept, like, you know, at its root.
Yeah.
Like, but we still know our gig and have to do it. Like, you know, like, and I feel like for a lot of people, especially people getting into commentary and kind of watching Dragon Ball stuff and they want to be a Dragon Ball commentator, like, for you, you're the goal. Like, you know, I want to be like C4. I want to be at that point where I can sit comfortably. If somebody rang me this evening and said, yo, listen, I know it's short notice, but you've got a 4-hour broadcast tomorrow and it's the online world finals for Tekken, I'd be like, easy, bro. No problem. Like, you know, like, that's not a thing that I would blink an eye at. And I'm sure you're exactly the same. If you got a call after this, after we stop recording, that, all right, you've got the global finals, they're online, and I know it's weird, but can you set up your webcam and can you do this? Like,
yeah, no, I agree. I would say yes, but the mental monologue between me and you would be different. Yours is like, I got this. Me, I'm like, you couldn't get the person you wanted. I'm down though. That's the difference between us, because my value of commentating isn't on the same metric as yours, because I feel if I can do it, all you have to do is apply yourself, and you could do it too.
Absolutely. Like, in exactly the same way as being the best player in the world. If you apply yourself, if you're sitting in practice mode, if you're grinding your combos, learning optimizations and that sort of stuff, learning matchup knowledge and that sort of stuff, if you are unemployed and have 5 years, you could be the best player in the world.
Yeah,
right.
I agree with that. Like whole, I think it was like a study, or not study, but it's like some sort of like, I guess it's a philosophy where it's like if you put 2 hours a day into like learning piano, in like a couple of years you'll be like the best, or something along those lines. So yeah, if you apply yourself rigorously, you could do that. 100%. I agree.
But should we not then be compensated for the hours that we've already put in, like doing the free shows and the online shows and the, you know?
So from your backstory, I would say you should always get paid more than me, because you're more qualified. You've got more experience in this. You're comfortable with it. You, like you said, you've literally been bred to do this.
Okay.
You're a show dog. Like, fair. You are worth more than me. So that's how I see it. I'm like, I'm pretty bottom of the litter. I am a mongrel in the nicest way possible. Like, I'm just good because I am very anal visually with what I see, and I hate when people get it wrong.
Okay.
That's why I'm here. So I think your skill is way more valuable than mine. I'm like the Joker. I'm just bitter about everything. You're very nice and have a good heart. We shouldn't be given the same wage.
I think that you have a good heart too, my friend. I think that there's a lot of like, it's not about the fact that like that where I come from or where you come from, because now we meet at the same point here. That we both do the same events. We both like get flown out and have to stay in hotels and stuff a lot of the time, and that like I think that where my upbringing kind of gave me a leg up for somebody who's just getting into it now. So I'm 30. If somebody wanted to be a commentator now and they wanted to quit their job, I would tell them probably not, like, you know. But I feel like as of now, as of where we sit, we're at the same level. I don't think that that I am more qualified. Like, if we look at just purely CVs, but nobody gets jobs in our industry based on CVs. It's usually what you did last week is what gets you the job. Like, you know, we're not looking at the CVs. It's not the conventional employment kind of career path or whatever that we're following here. I think that if you have a talk with some like people who are just getting into commentary, I feel like you will understand where you came from, and I'm not saying that you don't understand this, but I feel like you would value your position more when it comes to these meetings about how much you should get paid. Like, because I do, and I understand the whole thing of like, because this was the argument that was brought up to me after we had this conversation before of like, hey, look, don't have a chat with him because, you know, it was a little bit nicer than that, but it was like, you're Tekken and he's Dragon Ball. There's always going to be more money allocated for the bigger games than there is for the kind of the B tier games or whatever. I don't mean to insult here, like, but
no, just it's facts, man. The hierarchy's reality.
Like, what do you think would happen if Tekken 8 comes out and it's awful and it's crap, and like I can't like have the same luxuries that I do now and stuff? Like, I think that my day rate is probably going to drop, but I don't think it's going to affect like my level of work. Like, I think I put on the same show, exactly the same show as what I've been developing for the last 2 years, 4 years, 5. I think I'm in esports 6 years now, man.
Yeah.
Damn, dude. But you know, like I don't think that the like skill, it's not a skill issue, like, for to bring it back to the FGC thing, like, you know, I don't think I have better traits than you mightn't like talking to people, but as soon as a camera is on, you'll talk to thousands of people, like, you know, and it might feel like a conversation between you and your co-commentator, but you're still there, like, you showed up, you did this sort of stuff, like, you know.
Well, you'll be happy about this. I am willing to use my body for science. So next month,
Okay,
hopefully, fingers crossed, I've put my name down for Tekken Salty EU.
let's go. That's where I started. That's my first ever gig I got.
You know what the most interesting part is? I played Tekken 4 in like secondary school, I think it was. I played Steve. Then I played Miguel in the last one.
Nice.
For about 2 days until I learned about electric wings. You have to dodge into him, and I stopped. I know very minimal lore, and that's probably from Street Fighter Cross Tekken. I don't know anything else.
Okay.
I don't even get the notations. I just about learned NRS notations because they do the whole like down forward sort of thing as well.
Yeah.
Tekken. So I'm going in that, and I'm not going to do a lick of research.
Oh.
That's the science part.
Right.
I'm going to see if I have talent or skill.
I believe that there is so much transferable skill, like, between what we do. Like, do you know I did Rocket League for a season?
Yeah. I remember you telling me this.
And I knew, like, I had to pull my co-commentator to the side and ask what rotations are, and any Rocket League fans that are watching are immediately like pulling their hair out or whatever. Rotations are basically like, if I said to you, like, wave dash, like, it's just kind of known that this is the best way to play. And I had to pull my co-commentator aside and ask him what rotations are, and for that broadcast I made, I think it was €30 or something, like, which is not a lot, but for somebody that didn't understand the base principle of how to play this game, I made €30, like, on this thing. Like, I was silver, like, on their ranks. Obviously, bronze 5 is the worst. I was silver, like.
But you had knowledge. Well, not knowledge. You also, I'm sure they said they were going to give you 30 before you started, right?
Yeah.
So it wasn't like, oh, you did such a good job, here's 30. So you was guaranteed the 30 anyway.
I got in there and I did a full broadcast, like, and I got invited back. So
you know why? Because you've got good talent and you got the DNA for this. That would never happen to me. It's okay.
No, there are transferable skills. I think you understand at that kind of root level what a broadcast requires. When a ball goes into a net, when clutch combo happens, when all of these like hype moments happen, we know as commentators that it's not the point where we start breaking down what happens. That's just the bit where we go, oh, I can't believe you just did that, or whatever, you know.
The thing is, I think I'm going to do fine. I kind of want an ego death. Right. I want to flop, so I understand my place in the bigger picture. Because I know if I go there, right, and I tell like the Dragon Ball guys or the Strive guys, or they play Tekken as well, and they go, oh, that's the fucking anime commentator. He's funny, ha 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 ha. They're gonna look past how good I am at commentating Tekken and look at my personality. So I want Tekken people that don't know me to go, I don't even care if they go, he doesn't know what he's talking about. I'm going in there knowing that I don't, but I want to be able to ask the questions for other new people to understand the game. So I'm going to be in there like an annoying like 5-year-old asking why this, why that, why this, why that. But I want to do it in an interesting way, right? So I know I'm throwing myself to the wolves. But the difference between me and you and why I think you should always get paid more, it doesn't matter about the game that we're commentating. You have a appeal that people are drawn to. And I think that's between your skill and your talent. I think you have that personality and the traits that you've learned with like your vocal training, that only enhances your ability. My voice is fucked. You heard the Bruce Buffer stuff. It's fucked. I can't do it. I should not be. That is not my lane. You said it. You don't like it. Why? Because it's not my lane. And there's a lot of things that I kind of bluff, or I like bamboozle people into thinking that I'm good at, that is my skill. Like I just bluff a lot of my stuff, and I'm okay with that. But like, so example, when we was talking about looking at the chat, a lot of times I've done this where I've gone, oh, last time I checked, or I remember this being +5. Stream chat, fact check me, tell me if I'm wrong or right. I like to learn as like on the job. You're too good to learn. You're just so good at this.
And that, unfortunately, is the end of the C4 podcast. My audio software did a bit of a backflip and stopped recording after this point. But if you liked what you heard already, please let us know. And thank you so much for listening in.